Hi folks, welcome to my channel or welcome back. My name is Kat. I'm a licensed and registered dietitian nutritionist and online nutrition coach. And today we are getting back into Monat. Now I am so sorry for the Monat distributors, Monat partners who have I'm not being sarcastic or anything. So many of them have been very nice in their comments of asking me to revisit it because I mentioned in that video that I had just looked at the official website. So when I made the original video going through the new wellness line with Monat or Monat, I've heard it both ways from distributors. So I'll probably be referring to it as both throughout this video, but so many of the comments were asking me to revisit it because I had just looked at the website. I did receive the PDF documents giving a little bit more information about those specific products, and so that's what I'm revisiting today. I would probably say, like, out of all of the videos that I have dove into specific products and companies, those were the nicest responses. So I appreciate that. I just want to make sure that people don't think that I'm trying to bash something just for the sake of it because it's fun or something. Like, I don't really like talking about things that make me uncomfortable and don't really provide things in the best of light. But what I do is look at a specific product or a diet plan or something, and then I will go through the ingredients or the steps of the plan and reference it to reputable sources. And so all of those are linked down below. Like, what is the research behind it? What are the specific doses of it? What are any kind of side effects? Are there any other things that we should be concerned with? Are there things that can really be beneficial? And so that's what I like to do. Another point that I wanted to mention is that I have not personally tried these products. With nutrition products and diet plans, you don't have to try something in order to give an educated response or opinion about it. There is a time and place, I feel like, for those personal experience videos or, someone sharing their story, but that is not what the purpose of this video or this channel really is, because I'm looking at the information from the website and from the supplement labels and referencing them to those sources. And I'm not providing that personal experience because that's really a study of one. That is anecdotal evidence. And for any health professional, that's not what we do. Like, when somebody is looking at, I'm not saying I'm a doctor or anything. I am far from being a doctor and having that amount of time and education. But like, doctors can look at a medication for a patient who has renal disease and look at what else is going on with that person and recommend a specific product or a specific medication, or not recommend a specific medication. That doesn't mean that the doctor has tried it personally. And with dietitians, I'm speaking as one myself. We can look at products, we can look at the ingredient labels, we can look at the diets, we can look at all of that and reference it to other reputable sources, provide that information about it. And I get a lot of comments on other videos. I don't think I got this on my Monat video, but how my words shouldn't matter because I haven't tried it personally. But really, when you're trying any kind of nutrition product, your experience can be very different from someone else's experience. And so again, I mentioned there is a time and a place, I do believe, for that personal experience video, but this is not it. This is not the channel for studies of one personal experience. Next point, if you are a distributor in this company, this is not a bashing of you. This is not me coming after you. I am looking at the companies, the corporate. I'm looking at their product and what they're having. If you are a distributor, what they are wanting you to talk to other people about and to sell. If you didn't have any say over the ingredients or anything about these products, then don't feel attacked because you didn't create these products. They're not your products. You are your own separate person. You did not create these products, and that is okay. I'm talking about this separate thing. It is not your identity. And so I don't want you to feel attacked. Lastly, everything in this video is 100% my opinion based on the information that I provide and all of my resources. Let's go. first things first. First thing that we are talking about is Monat Energy. Now, with this energy product, it is a drink, and they say that it has 50 milligrams of caffeine. In their product sheet, they mentioned that a 12-ounce drip coffee has up to 260 milligrams of caffeine, which is quite a bit, and I was really curious as to where they got that information, because if you look on Mayo Clinic, they provide the information that a normal, like an 8-ounce on average, will have 96 milligrams of caffeine, which if you do the math, divide the 96 by 8 and then multiply that by 12 to get 12 ounces, you come up with about 144 milligrams, which is quite a bit less than the 260 milligrams. But I did see on Healthline that Starbucks coffee, which they mentioned as being like the most caffeinated, their tall at 12 ounces is that 260 milligrams. So I'm sure that's what they were referencing. And I know a lot of people get Starbucks even more than the talls, but just be aware that other kind of coffees, especially if you make coffee at home, it's not gonna be that high. It's gonna be quite a bit lower. Now, they also did mention that if you are sensitive to caffeine, you may want to begin with 1 pack daily and gradually adjust to 2. And my question was why? Because if you're okay with 1 drink, then there's not really a reason to like increase it. If you are getting the amount of caffeine, if you're feeling good, if you're feeling like that is enough, there's really no need to increase your amount of that. So I thought it was a little bit interesting. I would say that if you are sensitive, then don't increase and just stay at that smaller intake of caffeine. So when you look at the label, there is quite a bit of vitamin B12. There's 8,333% of the daily value, the daily recommended intake of that for the average person, which is quite excessive in my opinion. B vitamins, they are considered, or they are a water soluble vitamin, and so whenever we consume past the amount that our body needs to use, it will go ahead and flush those out. And so the risk of over consuming it to a toxic level is very, very small. But especially if you are getting 2 packs of these, if you are increasing your intake of this, you're getting twice the amount of 8,333. Like, we know that, we're aware of that. So that is just very, very excessive. That's a lot, and I feel like very unnecessary in my opinion. There has not been an upper level tolerable intake that has been put on B12 just because of the low like risk of toxicity towards it. So we have these different guidelines for all of the nutrients, and if there is some concern about like what is a tolerable upper limit, like what is the max, there isn't one currently for vitamin B12. And so I'm sure that's why they're, you know, a lot of supplements, not just this one, are able to do that and supplement that excessively. Now, I did see on Healthline that the excessive supplementation of B12 has been linked to some negative side effects. Some studies have shown that mega doses of that vitamin can lead to outbreaks of acne, rosacea. However, for these studies, they were related to like injections of vitamin B12 versus the oral supplementation of it. So, and I'm not saying that this will happen with this product or anything. I'm just saying in general, this is, as far as excessive intakes of vitamin B12, this is what the information currently gives us. So it's just something to be aware of, especially if you are experiencing any of those issues. Now, there is also ashwagandha extract in this product, and I know that is a very popular supplement, especially within the last few years, I would say, and it's generally considered safe if you're taking it, you know, up to 3 months. That Medline Plus actually has put out information about. However, the long-term safety of that consistently, especially in large doses, is not really known right now. Now, I did find this really interesting. So this is on medlineplus.gov, and autoimmune diseases such as multiple sclerosis, lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, and other conditions, under like that part when you're looking at their information for ashwagandha, it says that it might cause the immune system to become more active, and this could increase the symptoms of autoimmune diseases. If you have one of these conditions, it's best to avoid using ashwagandha. And so I know that for supplements, and I received this kind of criticism on another video, how somebody was saying how if somebody is taking these products, it is up to them to get it cleared from their doctor. Like, they are taking that risk, and it shouldn't fall on the sellers, on the distributors. However, I see both. I see, yes, it is at personal responsibility. However, I do still feel like there is a responsibility of that distributor to recommend something that is not going to be harmful for someone. And I know that for a lot of these distributors, they're not doing this kind of intake form. They're not looking at that person's history. Maybe that person is not open about their autoimmune disease. I know a lot of people who share a lot of information about their autoimmune disease, and I know other people who keep it under wraps. That is a personal decision. And so if somebody is recommending this, and maybe they're at the beginning stages of their autoimmune disease, maybe they don't even know that they have an autoimmune disease currently, and I just feel like the risk of just recommending this with, not giving that extra information, which I don't know if I haven't seen anybody giving that additional information. I just feel like I know there is this kind of thing where, like, make sure you check with your doctor and make sure it's okay. But I know there are a lot of people who don't do that. And so I understand how some distributors would be like, well, they should look at the ingredients. If somebody has like a food allergy or something, it's up to them to look at it. At the same time, things like this aren't so common as something like, or not as well known, not as familiarized as something like a food allergy. And so I just feel like we're in this kind of weird stage of understanding autoimmune diseases and people recognizing it in themselves and getting it taken care of. If they have the resources to get it taken care of, that's a whole nother topic. And so I just feel like, just be aware. If you have an autoimmune disease, if you have that running in your family, if you maybe are experiencing a lot of health issues that you maybe haven't been diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, it's just something to be aware of. And I feel like I know distributors who have autoimmune conditions who might be taking this, who don't know that risk because it's not well known. If you just search ashwagandha, you'll probably see a lot of like blog posts and articles and how great it is and everything. A lot of people don't know that these resources are available, though, that like Medline Plus is a thing, and that we can look at really consolidated information about specific ingredients and make decisions based off that. They're just making decisions, not everybody, but a lot of people make decisions based off what is on a popular like health website that's not reputable or something, or blog post. I just think it's something to be aware of. And yes, there is that responsibility to make sure that everything in their ingredients is something that you can consume. However, I do feel like if somebody is promoting these specific products, that they should be aware of that as well. I feel like any distributor, any kind of seller of anything, like whether it is through MLM or not, they should know the products inside and out. Even if they're saying like, make sure your doctor checks off on this, I still feel like they should know this. So I don't know if this is common knowledge, if this is something that they are trained in, if they are provided all of this information that I'm giving you, but this is readily available information. Again, everything is linked down below. There's L-carnitine in here, which isn't a concern of mine. However, most people make a sufficient amount, and so there's not really a need for this kind of supplementation of it from the information that I have found. And then there's also phenylethylamine, which is something that we have talked about in previous videos. If you've watched my other videos, then you probably see how there's a lot of similar ingredients that seem to pop up multiple times, time and time again. And so I'm sorry if any of this is just kind of boring or is just kind of repetitive. I feel like it is still important to talk about, though, for anybody who hasn't watched those other videos, or, just to be more aware. So PEA, that's what usually it's referred to. And this is something that for some people with certain mental health conditions, this can cause some additional kind of triggering of. For people with bipolar disorder, the use of phenylethylamine can convert somebody from depression to mania. And for people with schizophrenia, it might worsen the symptoms or cause some hallucinations or delusions. And I am not a mental health professional at all, but again, this is all information from those websites. So that might not be an issue for you in particular, but in general, I would say, like, if you want something to help you with your energy, a lot of times just focusing on having a balanced intake, a balanced meal, making sure sure that you're getting in food that'll break down and provide you with quick energy, but also pairing that together with foods that'll give you sustainable energy, make you to feel more satisfied, stay full. That is a way that can help people to get more energy overall. As well, if you wanted something to drink, like I am okay also with having people drink coffee. I drink black coffee every single morning, and it's part of the experience that I really love and I look forward to in the mornings. And so you don't need to get rid of that if you don't have any sensitivities to that, if you aren't having any negative experiences with that. And I would say that that is a much more simple kind of, it's very natural, which of course natural doesn't always mean that it's healthy, but specifically for energy. And if you're having caffeine, if you already don't have any issues with that, then just having coffee is fine. Those are just my thoughts. I would recommend coffee over any of these energy products most of the time. The next product is their Total Greens. Now this one has, they say 37 fruits and vegetables, 4 grams of dietary fiber. There's oat fiber in there that comes from usually the husks of oats. And they mention that it's gluten-free. Oats normally are gluten-free. The only concern is if they have contamination. A lot of them are in facilities with gluten and then they get contaminated. So that's why you might see oats specifically mentioning that they are gluten-free. There's also barley on here. Now I got this information from beyondceliac.org, and it said that many experts advise that people on the gluten-free diet avoid barley grass completely. Barley grass can be gluten-free, but only if the plants are picked before sprouting and producing seeds. Since some barley grass can have early sprouts, there is still a risk of it having gluten. So I know that they mentioned that the oats are gluten-free, but they really don't mention anything about the barley. And so if you are somebody who has sensitivities towards gluten for any reason, then I would check and make sure that if you have any symptoms, it might be related to this. But if you don't have any issues with gluten, then I don't see a problem with having the barley in there. There's spirulina, milk thistle, matcha green tea. I don't really have concerns with that. It is a berry green flavor, no added sugar. I'm really curious as to how it tastes. I know in my previous video somebody said that it tasted good. That's just a side note. Overall, I like the ingredients of this product. There weren't really any like red flags that stood up for me. I know some people have the concern where they're like, just eat vegetables instead. And as much as I would love that, if we could just tell people to eat vegetables and fruits and produce in general instead, that would make my life so much easier. But we can't sometimes. Sometimes it is hard. There are so many reasons why people might have problems or issues with getting in the appropriate amounts of produce across the board. And so sometimes I have clients who are consuming a greens product from various different places. And so that is just a way that can help to kind of get the overall increase of vegetables a little bit higher. However, it will never replace whole produce, whole fruits, whole vegetables, because it doesn't have that same amount of fiber. Even though this one does have fiber, it's not the same amount. It's not going to be the same kind of thing. It's not replaceable to fruits and vegetables. And I don't see on here that they're saying that it is replaceable or anything. I think it's just really meant as like a supplement to the normal diet or intake of produce. So I do see that it can be helpful in certain circumstances. Again, I would have to know more about the person before just blindly like recommending it. However, I really wish that there was an NSF or another third-party test, especially for something like this, because of how many fruits and vegetables are in here, the 37 that they mention. I just want to see, like, I want to make sure that there aren't any contaminants or there aren't any fillers or anything, that everything that's on the label, I want to make sure that that is all that's actually in the product. And so for a lot of these kind of supplements, I really like to look at that third party and make sure that they do have a third party test. And so that would be my only thing, is I'm being picky. So they do have Balance. It is a dual layer pre and probiotic complex. There is 5 billion CFUs, or colony forming units, which is really good. And there's 13 strains. And so by far, like compared to any of the other companies and any of the other probiotic products that I've reviewed, I was actually surprised that this one does have that amount of strains in there and that it has a 5 billion CFUs. There is a delayed response, so it's a capsule in a capsule. I mentioned this in the previous video and kind of what the purpose of that is. So if you have the probiotics, you really want to make sure that they arrive alive to the colon, to the large intestine, to the place where they are supposed to live. And so if, let's say, you take a probiotic and the capsule opens up and all of the probiotics are just there in your stomach acid, they're not going to make it to the colon. So it's really interesting to see how they kind of made that into one overall kind of product. So a little bit about the prebiotics. So they mentioned that prebiotics are just as important as probiotics, which is a fact. We have those probiotics, but we need to feed them because they are alive, and anything alive needs to have some kind of nourishment. And so that's what the prebiotics are there for. And so they get their prebiotics specifically from inulin, from chicory root, and also from rice bran. And so chicory root, inulin, that is a very helpful prebiotic. A lot of people don't have any issues with it. It is a really helpful prebiotic that we have talked about in previous videos too. However, some people with digestive issues will have some issues around taking that. It is a type of carbohydrate chain that is actually a part of the FODMAP diet, which is a diet that has a lot of different protocols with it, but that we use for some people with digestive issues just to kind of see different kind of sensitivities. It's one of the many things that we can do when looking at gut health overall. So some people who are looking for a probiotic, maybe because they are having a lot of digestive issues, they might find a lot of relief with this product. However, they also might not. And so again, just like with anything with digestive health in particular, that is something that you do want to, like, you can experiment on your own, but I would recommend going to your doctor, making sure all the red flags are checked off, and then asking your doctor for a referral to meet with a gut health focused registered dietitian to help you figure out what would work best. Beyond that, again, there is a rice bran. There's also licorice root, and there are some concerns with taking licorice root. Now, I don't know how much of it overall is because they just kind of lump it all together as far as how much is consumed or how much is provided. However, with licorice root, there are potential drug interactions, and medications that interact with licorice include ones that are related to blood pressure, to diuretics or like water pills, heart rhythm medications, even some blood thinners like warfarin or Coumadin, estrogen, hormone therapy, even some birth control pills. And so it's just something to be aware of. I usually don't see licorice root in probiotics, and so if you just ask your doctor if you can, take this licorice root or take this probiotic, and they don't realize that it is a probiotic that's not like just like a standard probiotic like a VSL, even like Culturel that you can get over the counter, and you could say that that's partially on the doctor, but still they have a lot going on. They're having to see a lot of patients. That's a whole nother thing, but just be aware that it's a little bit more than like something that you would find in like Culturel or anything that doesn't have the licorice root. At least last time I checked, they didn't have any. And then of course with licorice root, it's contraindicated for pregnancy. It can harm the brain development of the fetus. Okay, so now we are on to the collagen, not a collagen itself. It is the building blocks or everything that collagen is. So we talked about collagen in the first video, but I want to bring it up again just because I think it's important, and I think it's cool to just kind of be aware of what collagen is. I feel like a lot of people have heard of it and maybe aren't really familiar with what it is. So when you look at collagen, it is found throughout the body, like lots of different places. It's found in our skin, it's found in our bones, it's found in our connective tissue. It's pretty much like the glue that holds us together. It's a lot more complicated, or it can get a lot more complicated, but that's a really good way of thinking of collagen. Overall, as we age, we tend to have a slow collagen production, or slower. Now, collagen is a breakdown of 2 major amino acids plus an additional amino acid. So there is always going to be in this chain, there's a chain of 3 amino acids. The chain is longer, but it's what's the word I'm trying to look for? It's 3 amino acids, and then 3 amino acids, and then 3 again, on and on. And so you'll have the glycine and proline. It'll be hydroxyproline or proline, but you'll have the glycine and the proline, and then you'll have a place for another kind of amino acid. That additional space, that X, can be a different amino acid, and it can vary. It's not just like one specific amino acid for beef and another one for fish. It just depends on kind of what is sitting there. And so if you have like a collagen product, it will have the glycine and the proline, and then it will have a whole bunch of different other amino acids for that space. And so with this product, they specifically supplemented that specific space with methionine, which is a common essential amino acid that is used to fill in that spot or found in that spot overall. So on the product sheet, they mentioned that in order to convert animal collagen, the body must first digest the collagen and then break it down into amino acid building blocks. The body uses those amino acids to create collagen. Collagen Key eliminates the breakdown process by providing vegan-sourced amino acids the body uses to create collagen. So I feel like this makes it sound as if the whole breakdown that needs to occur, that the breakdown is the issue, that the breakdown means that it's not going to be as efficient or it's not going to come out in the same way. When that is not the case, our bodies can handle breakdown of food in most cases. There are some people who need additional enzymes or who have some issues with that for various reasons, and there are different things that we can approach and have more elemental kind of nutrition products. Like there are, when talking about even like tube feeding, we can do it to where there are some chains in there. We can have the chains broken down a little bit further. We can have elemental kind of nutrients just depending on kind of what's going on. But for the most people who are consuming this product, their bodies can handle that digestion piece. And so like just mentioning that like it eliminates the breakdown process as if it's a good thing. Like it's a good thing to give that exercise to your body to do. Like that's what it does. That's its job. It knows how to do that. Like it is okay to put that job on your digestive system. It is okay. And even specifically like talking about gut health, there might be that time where we need those elemental kind of formulas for the gut. However, we always like our goal is to, if we can, increase that. Like we want the gut to do what it can do. We want to promote that digestion piece. We want to stimulate that. And I know they're not saying that it's bad to have the digestion otherwise, but it just kind of seems implied. Like, I don't know, maybe that's just me, but we don't need to have elemental amino acids in order for our bodies to use them. And with collagen specifically, I feel like sometimes people have the idea that if they are needing some additional collagen in different parts of their body, that if they consume the collagen, that collagen is gonna go find those spots and like fit itself in, when that's not the case, because it is those specific amino acids, yes, that are the building blocks of collagen. However, we can get those amino acids in from other foods, and not just animal products, but even vegan, vegetarian options. Beans are a great source of those specific amino acids, as well as legumes in general. Nuts and seeds are great. Cashews in particular, peanut butter also has them. Seeds are also awesome. So like pumpkin seeds, chia seeds, those are great. Sunflower seeds, those are great options to getting in those specific amino acids so that it'll break down your body. Will break those down, give you those amino acids, and those can be used for building blocks for collagen and other things as well. So those are good sources for vegans or vegetarians. However, if somebody is okay with consuming animal products, then having something like bone broth is wonderful for getting in high amounts of those specific amino acids, as well as other kind of animal products. And so I'm always a proponent of food first before any kind of supplement. And so if we are getting in a sufficient amount of those amino acids that we need to build collagen, then is there a need for that supplement? And so I wanted to give a little bit more information about, like, if somebody has a question of, am I receiving enough of those amino acids? So I actually went on the USDA's website, and I wanted to show this as a resource in case anybody's wondering. You can actually look up individual amino acids and figure out and see what the highest amount of those amino acids are going to be in specific foods. And so like if you type in methionine, because that that was that third one that they were mentioning that they put in here. I included beef as well as chia seeds and pumpkin seeds. And so for the beef, I chose one that was 3 ounces. And for the chia seeds, I chose a 1 ounce. And then the pumpkin seeds also 1 ounce. And so they give the amount of methionine in there. So for the beef, 3 ounces, that would provide 805 milligrams. It gives it in grams, but because the Monat supplement sheet has it in milligrams, I wanted to share this one in milligrams. That gives you 0.805 grams, which translates to 805 milligrams. So when you look at how much methionine that you can, and that's just methionine, like beef has all of the essential amino acids. And so if you look at that and you look at what is in the collagen product, like, do we need it? Do we need it? And then for the chia seeds and the pumpkin seeds for 1 ounce, that would provide 167 milligrams as well as 169 milligrams. And so when you look at the Monat supplement, you can kind of see how that 1,000 milligrams is all of those amino acids. And so they don't exactly say how much is of each, but if you break that down like by each of those amino acids, that is really close to what we see in that food. That's just in that one food. That you are still gonna get those amino acids from other food options as well. Like, you're not just eating 1 ounce of pumpkin seeds a day, right? Like, I hope you're not. You're going to have more than that. And so you're probably, and I can't say this straight out because I don't know your intake, but you're probably getting just that plus more by having a varied diet.
Also, I wanted to say that if you are looking for a collagen product, I really like using Thrive Market's collagen peptides. I have never had an issue with it. I like the quality of it, and as you can see on the screen, I took a picture of the bag that I have in my pantry, and you can see the list of all of the amino acids they have in there. So you'll see that there's quite a bit of the glycine and the proline and hydroxyproline, but then there's also so many other amino acids that they provide. And so this is very much more of a variety. This is going to provide you with a lot more than what is in the Monat specific product. Even if you just look at the glycine itself, that is already 2 times as much of what they were providing you in the Monat product, where it's 1,000 milligrams of all 4 of those combined, versus in this information sheet it lists it all out individually. So I like that transparency a lot. And with the Thrive Market one, you also get 51 servings per container, and it is actually $24.99, at least at the time of this recording. I don't know if that's a normal price, but I'm not sure of the Monat product, but I'm sure it's more than $24.99. If I'm wrong on that, then let me know definitely down in the comments.
But check out that website if you do want more specific information about those individual amino acids in those particular food products. A lot of people don't know that that website exists, and that was something that we had to use a lot in school for like different kind of projects and everything. And so I thought it was a really cool resource to kind of be familiar with what is actually in food. Now, I do like that there is vitamin C in this product because it is a precursor for getting everything like ready where it needs to go. It is very important to have vitamin C in order to utilize that collagen. And so just another reason why we have that recommendation for getting in fruits and vegetables with varying different amounts of vitamin C so that it can help overall throughout the day with what your body needs for collagen production, as well as everything else that it is useful for. There is biotin in here, which you thought the B12 was a little excessive before. Look at this. It is 16,667% of daily value, which is probably like the highest that I've seen. Very excessive. There is not an established upper level tolerable intake for this, similar because it is a water soluble vitamin. The NIH said that several studies have found no adverse effects of 5 to 10 milligrams up to 200 milligrams of oral biotin or 20 milligrams intravenously in patients with biotinidase, which if you ever see something with an ACE at the end, like ASE, that can indicate that that is an enzyme. And so when we're looking at biotin and just the context of everything, we can kind of see how that is the enzyme to utilize biotin. So basically, as long as you are able to metabolically use biotin, then they didn't see any symptoms of toxicity with those specific amounts. It seems, I would say from the research, that excessive amount would be okay. I still think it's a little bit excessive, but that's just me. The only concern that I found for somebody who is taking in excessive amounts of biotin consistently would be that it could cause clinically significant falsely high or falsely low laboratory test results depending on the test. And these incorrect results might lead to an inappropriate patient management or misdiagnosis of a medical condition. So just maybe not taking it every day or all the time if you are like set on consuming this product. So overall, kind of wrapping up, the greens came out at the top of my list as far as which ones that I am like cool with. Would I recommend this just blindly? No, as I wouldn't recommend any product just blindly without looking at the individual, especially when you're looking at the greens. If they do have any kind of gluten sensitivity, that is definitely something to be aware of. The probiotics would be next on my list. I know that with the product ingredients and information, I would be able to handle this, just knowing with what I can consume and everything, without any gastric discomfort or anything of that nature. But at the same time, I know a lot of people who I work with who would not be able to consume this. That's just another example. Like if I were to take this and be like, this, works for me, it's great for me, like cool, but you're not me. So yeah, that's just kind of my response about those two. The collagen overall, this is not just for this product in particular, but just collagen in general. If you're getting in a good variety of food, you might not need collagen, and it might, especially for the price. I don't know the price of these, but I can only imagine that they are not the least expensive for high quality collagen, and there are other plant-based collagen products on the market, absolutely, and so it's just isn't necessary. And then the energy would actually be like the lowest one on my list, just because I'm not aware of everybody's mental state. I'm not aware of any underlying medical conditions that would be contraindicated with using it. Just like with the nature of the promotion and the reach out, how a lot of these products get sold, I don't feel like you have the appropriate information to be able to recommend something in particular. Like if you have this product and you're just posting about it, you're not like reaching out to people to try it, I feel like that's a little bit different. That puts more of the not responsibility, but it puts more of the energy into the person, the client or the customer looking into the product, like just how normal products are sold. Like if you go to a grocery store, if you know you have certain conditions or things that you need to be aware of, then you are going to look at that label and everything. But if you have somebody reaching out to you who is providing you with all of the information about it to their knowledge, it puts a whole nother level of just like complexity. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's not the person just going to that product that's being posted about on Instagram. A lot of times it's that product that is being posted about, but also those people reaching out to that individual. So that would be my concern. And I don't know if I'd feel comfortable with saying like, as long as you don't like, do you have any of these issues, like listing them all and then, asking somebody who I don't know for that information. I've gotten comments that said like, I wish you would have just talked about the products and not the distribution, not the fact that it's an MLM. But that's part of the concern that I have with a lot of these companies, and this one included, of just like the nature of getting the information and DMing people about it, sharing people about it when it might be contraindicated. And yes, there is some responsibility on the customer themselves, but there's also, I feel like, some information that might be a little bit misleading, even if not intentionally, that comes across whenever you do have this kind of model of distribution, because it's just kind of the nature of not being able to be educated on all of those ingredients and all of the concerns around them that maybe another kind of person might be able to do if there wasn't that kind of focus on getting in as many people to sell these products and to talk about these products. I just feel like that is also concern around it. The containers are really cute though. I like the aesthetic. I think it's really like sleek and minimalist, and I like it. That's it for me in this video. Again, thank you so much for your patience if you did watch the original video and if you were waiting for an update with the product information sheets. I feel like overall it didn't really update in a way that was like super different, but there was some additional information in here. So I hope this has been helpful. That's it. If you like this video, if you like this channel, please subscribe, and I will see you next time. All right, bye.